Hello everyone, it's Ren here. Welcome to my room, guys. To my original room, the room in which I was born. Well, I was actually born in the hospital, not in this room, but the room in which I spent my childhood. Some of you are familiar with this room. Anyway, I hope you're good and that you're ready for another edition of Ren's Room. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the notion of a big shift in your life. I'm thinking more specifically about maybe a big shift in your professional life or, in your career projects or in your projects in general. Because I've been having those thoughts and I want to share those with you and sort of probe you to see where you're getting at, and also sort of situate that conversation within an INFJ perspective, or maybe an NI dominant perspective, or a type that has a strong kind of NI function in their stack. I think to some extent this could apply also to types that have a strong JI function in their stack, whether it be FI or TI, but principally NI, I would say. Who knows if I've been having those thoughts because there was recently a big shift in my life. Either way, before I proceed, just remember that I have written 2 books in the last couple of years. The Infinite Castle is my most recent one, which is a novel. It's a very nice book, very nice product. If you're interested in discovering my fictional work, you can get it at the links below for less than $10. If you like Dostoevsky, Kafka, Murakami, existentialism, and tortured INFJ protagonists, check it out. And of course, my book on the INFJ, The Ecstatic Soul, which you can get also for less than $10. Check out the Amazon link. There's like 95 reviews of it now, and they're all pretty positive. So you might want to get, you might want to give it a go. Right, so 9 more days of time off and then back to serious life, back to work. And it's kind of in this context that I want to discuss this topic, because as some of you may know, actually, I'd say maybe most of you might not even know this, but I make videos for this channel as a part-time thing, something that I do mostly at the weekend. But during the week, when I'm not on holidays, I work at an office job. Essentially, it's an office job. When I discuss with people and I say I work in the humanitarian sector, sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. You work for a cause, etc., etc." And it seems like it's something that's good. And when I talk to people who are into like MBTI as well, like some people are like, "Oh, that sounds good for an INFJ. You're working for a cause and so on." But concretely speaking, I'm not in the field. I work an office job in Dublin, and I do fundraising for that position, partnerships, seeking new funding for projects. And in fact, it is something that I like. It's something that I do find enjoyable to a degree, and I'm not too bad at it. Because it's not fundraising with people in the street. It's like talking with private foundations and companies and so on to try to see if they would be interested in supporting the work. And my current organization, the work they do is really good. I really believe in that, so that's all good. But at the same time, I cannot help but think that I've been doing it for nearly 10 years at this point. And I cannot shake off this feeling that, it's not the last thing that I want to do, and it's not necessarily the thing that I was made for. It feels at times, and I'm really curious to know if you guys feel like this also at times. Like my job is something that I do to earn a wage, to be able to pay for my expenses and my rent and all that. And also that it is, something that it's a compromise in a way. Don't hate it, don't love it. It's kind of okay. I do it, but I'm not always delighted. It has good aspects, not so good aspects, and it's not to do specifically with this particular job. It's something that has to do with the line of work I'm in, if you like. And so I'm often contemplating a big shift. And these days I'm contemplating the possibility of this shift, but I tend to delay it. Now, the shift that I have in mind, something that's been in my mind for at least 3 years now, it's to go back to university and study to become a counselor, like psychotherapist, something that I think I would love. But it's, I'm 36 and it requires a lot of time and effort, and I'm now a married man, so you imagine with the duties. So it probably would require, taking university courses for a good few years and part-time work, and it would be something that is feasible in principle, but there's all these material limitations that you're quick to envision, and you think, oh, maybe I could sort of stay in my line of work and get used to it and do the psychological stuff on the side. But it keeps coming back, and I'm kind of like, oh, am I making a mistake by not acting upon this? The reason why I think that this kind of conversation I've been having with myself, and perhaps with some of you who might have had similar thoughts, and you will let me know in the comments, I'm sure, is that the situation, the fact that it can be situated within the INFJ conversation is, I think that when you're a strong NI user, you have a strong synthetic tendency. NI users are much more synthetic than analytical. Although we have talked about analytical INFJs. Analytical INFJs, I think, are very strong on JI as well as NI, okay? So TI, NI-TI INFJs, analytical INFJs. But if you're a pure perception INFJ, you're not going to be especially analytical. You're going to be very synthetic. Proactive INFJs are synthetic and pragmatic. More pragmatic perhaps than other INFJs. But the synthesis is really what the INFJ excels at, and the INTJ too, and ENFJs with strong NI, ENTJs with strong NI, and so on and so forth. Potentially, ISTPs and ISFPs with strong NI as well in tertiary. This proclivity towards synthesis applies to your life. You'll notice that in your existence, it's always a very tempting thing, and not even just a tempting thing, a natural thing, I want to say, an organic tendency to look at everything you're doing and everything you're involved in as part of a synthetic whole that makes sense. It's this like organic construct that always is kept in an orderly state, where if something new happens or if something new is undertaken, there's quickly the drive to make sense of it as sort of a natural progression of the whole that it is becoming a part of. So there's really a strong drive toward holism. But because there is a strong drive toward holism, well, that applies to my life. And if you like, my current employment that I've been in for many years, beyond the material dimension and the fact that it's safe in a way because it's there and I can stay in it, it's also become a very integral part of the holistic sense I make of myself, given my synthetic tendencies as a strong NI user. So if I were to go for a shift, it's not like maybe with strong perception, extroverted perception leads, where I think that these types are much more able to allow to cohabit like different tendencies at once. They have this flexibility, which can be a real strength. I think for a strong NI user, that's much more difficult. It's like if you envisage a big change, it's almost like you have to replace your current synthetic whole with a new one. Start from scratch. It's not like you add a little thing or you allow a big thing to dwell next to another thing that it's not so compatible with. It can't really work with a strong NI user. It has to be a big replacement, and that is kind of scary. Scary, and all the more attractive or appealing to me to sort of stick to my current system because it makes holistic sense. But it's not really fulfilling me as much as I think it could. Not only in terms of what I like, but also in terms of maybe where I think I could bring a lot of positive change for people. And indirectly then for my self-worth and for my satisfaction. And there's always another possibility, which has to be taken into account and not underestimated, is the grass is greener effect, whereby, how do I know? How do I know that I would actually enjoy being a psychotherapist, for example, once I am that? What if by the time I'm that, I think, oh my God, actually my last job was not so bad. I mean, that would be a shame. And it's something that has to be taken into account. But at the same time, it has to be recognized that this very thought process can be used by my psyche as a justification for not doing anything. By saying, well, it's just a grass is greener thing, it will pass. But it's not passed. It's been 3 years and it's still there. And time passes and I don't get younger. And have you guys been through this? And what are your thoughts about this in relation to this idea of NI synthesis? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you had similar experiences in your life? I am really curious to know. As you know, I always read your comments, even when I don't have the time to reply to them all. So looking forward to them. And don't forget, you can support me on Patreon. I've had some new supporters lately. This helps massively. Makes a huge difference to how I can continue running this channel and everything else. So appreciate it. Consider supporting me. You know, it's from 3-4 euros a month onwards. Helps a lot. Okay. See you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.